I have bad news for you if, like me, you've gotten an exceptionally high electricity bill over the last few months, especially if you live in the north of the United States, a northern state, and you got hit by a lot of snow lately, and you might have looked at your electricity bill and kind of panicked a little bit. For example, I got one that was $700, and then the following month I got one that was $900. These are very high electricity bills, and unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's going to get much worse. And there are a variety of reasons why. Some of those reasons are administrative, which I will get into. Others are just, you have to think about electricity as a commodity. I don't think a lot of people think about that. There is a sort of scarcity to it that people tend to ignore, but power is a commodity. And so with that in mind, you've just got to understand supply and demand, and the supply is there, but the demand is increasing at very dramatic rates. And so what's causing this increase in demand? You know, for much of Bitcoin's existence, there have been some pretty significant objections with all the Bitcoin miners and the electricity that they use. And I understand that, but one thing you've got to understand about all of that is that these AI data centers that are popping up are actually, they dwarf Bitcoin miners. They are being built at incredibly fast rates, and their capacity to consume energy is at a scale of multiples in comparison to these Bitcoin miners. For example, there's an AI data center that's getting built in Amarillo, Texas, that should be ready by 2027, that has 11 gigawatt capacity. What's a gigawatt? Remember from Back to the Future, 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah, Doc Brown actually mispronounced it. It's a gigawatt. Well, think about that, 1.21 gigawatts. Why did Doc Brown freak out? Well, 1.21 gigawatts was enough electricity to power about a quarter of the state of Texas for a year, like a quarter of the residences in the state of Texas for a year. He needed that much energy to send the DeLorean to 1985. And here we are in 1955. What? You know, there's no way, aside from a bolt of lightning, apparently, which I don't even know that's true. So we're talking about 11 gigawatts, 11 gigawatt capacity, which is actually more than the amount of electricity being produced by 38 of the 50 states in the United States. And we're getting this one AI data center in Amarillo, Texas, that's being built. That's going to be built on 5 square miles. So you're going to be able to drive a little over 2 miles, take a right turn and drive a little bit more than 2 miles, and you'll still be driving by this property. Okay, this is massive. Now, this may not seem like all that much right now, but because it's only about 4% of the electricity being used, these AI data centers so far, but the projections for the end of this decade is it's more going to be like 28% of all electricity in the United States that's being used is going to be used by these AI data centers. This is just, and it's that's not everything, okay? So electrical plants, they mostly use natural gas. They also use coal, but natural gas is a much more efficient way of using it. Now, coal usage is increasing, but natural gas is the primary means in which these electrical plants use to generate power. Now, there's a great deal of increasing demand all over the world for natural gas. And so the producers of natural gas, they have an incentive because places around the world are willing to pay more for natural gas than these companies in the United States. They have an incentive to export natural gas. And what is being done about that? Now, listen, I am as libertarian fiscally as they come, but there is something that strikes me in not a good way when I think about the natural resources of this country in the ground of the United States being exported to other countries without any kind of intervention. I'm sorry, especially if you are a pure libertarian. I have outed myself as a socialist. I'm joking. But, okay, in my opinion, there should be some kind of a cap onto how much of a percent of natural gas these producers are exporting. But the current administration, which I am in support of, has no interest in that. And so because there's no cap, there is going to be a continued increase in our electricity costs. Again, supply and demand. There is much more demand than there is supply, which is going to cause prices to go up. And so, okay, well, all right, this is the Money Channel. Welcome to the Money Channel if you're not here. What do we do about this? And how do we take advantage of this from an investment perspective? I have some thoughts. There are things that my mind has been rolling in that I don't know if it's really on people's radars. I mean, for example, you go out and drive somewhere. You drive to the grocery store. How many houses do you drive by that have solar panels on their roofs? I may make an entire drive and not see a single solar panel. This may lead to a tipping point in the adoption of solar power. I mean, this is not a comment original to me. I saw somebody make a comment that every new house built in the United States should just have solar panels on them. They should build them with solar panels. That makes sense to me. Because we're going to need to generate our own electricity. We're going to need to get it from somewhere other than Duke Energy or wherever else you're getting your electricity from. And so solar panels make a lot of sense in that regard in terms of saving us money, because potentially what could be coming is electricity bills more than your mortgage payment. My $900 bill it's on the way, So are there companies that would be worth investing in that would do very well as people are realizing, oh, wait, I need to do stuff to at least either reduce my electricity bill or eliminate it altogether? So it's not just solar panels. Are people going to be paying a lot more attention to different insulation methods, or are there other ways of generating, alternative ways of generating electricity? And I'm asking for your input here, that would be worth investing in. But the thing that has me intrigued about solar is if you look at a lot of these solar charts, what you'll see is just these charts that look really bad over the last 10 to 15 years, as there were a lot of subsidies to invest into solar companies, and then those subsidies dried up and these stocks crashed. And so these stocks in particular seem to be at a very good value ahead of what is potentially coming. Those subsidies, maybe they weren't a bad idea, but they were just early. And so think about what this means. Think about what people are going to do, because people are not going to tolerate electric bills more than their mortgages or their rent. How are they going to be creative, and how are people going to provide creative solutions for the everyday man to cause this crisis, which it's going to be a crisis, it might already be, to cause it to not be as bad or to just go away entirely? That's what I'm trying to process right now, and I'm not entirely there yet. I have one direction that I'm intrigued by, but what else? Let me know in the comment section of this video what you would think about where do we go from here, because there's always opportunities everywhere.